JACO Environmental demanufactures refrigerators into their component parts. This facility in Hayward, California, demanufactures up to 300 refrigerators a day. I had the chance to sit down with Michael Dunham, the Director of Environmental Programs at JACO, to learn more. Why is it so important that refrigerators and freezers are properly dealt with?
Refrigerators and freezers that were manufactured between, let's say, 1975 and 1995 contained CFC 12 as the refrigerant. People call that Freon. And they had polyurethane foam insulation in the walls, and it was blown with CFC 11. Those two chemicals are two of the most potent greenhouse gases that have ever been made by man.
JACO has sought out new markets for the various components that make up refrigerators, some of which are quite innovative, starting with the foam insulation.
This is the polyurethane foam after we mill it and degas it. So what we do is put it in a giant miller and take it down to its smallest component, and we drop the gas out while we're doing that. And in order to make the end product that made it cradle to cradle, this is an oilinator is what they call it, but it's actually an oil binder. You can throw that on an oil spill in a warehouse.
Plastic. What are you able to use the plastic
ABS
for?
and HIPs. What we do with that is send it to plastic reusers. What they'll do is separate it, and then they chip it, make it and melt it down and use it in injection molding. Polyurethane we just talked about. The tempered glass, we send that to a company that grinds it up, and they can use it for three different things. One is an aerator for potting soil. They sell it in garden shops in bags, and you can put it in your pot plants, and it keeps the oil from compacting. I mean the soil. It's great to throw on dirt roads, and it keeps dust from flying. And so those are two of the uses. Steel, you can make more refrigerators. You can make a lot of things out of more steel. And then, of course, copper and aluminum. Most of the copper that comes out of old refrigerators is used to make copper wire, and most of the aluminum goes to making cans. And then the last container has those horrible CFCs. You have 12 and 22, and then in the HFC, which is 134A, and that was the drop-in replacement that is not ozone depleting, but still a global warmer. In the container next to it are capacitors that have PCBs, and behind it is compressor oil out of refrigerators that is contaminated with CFCs or HFCs. And we actually clean the oil so it can be reused as a clean mineral oil.
We went back out to the warehouse to see the oil and refrigerant recovery process in action.
This is a very sophisticated, state-of-the-art evacuation machine, and this was originally designed in Germany. We now manufacture them in the U.S., and we have one of these in every one of JACO's 30 facilities around the country. Some of them have 2 or 3. This facility has 2, I believe. And what it does is it evacuates the refrigerant and the oil simultaneously, and then actually cleans the oil after we pull it out. We heat it up and drive CFCs off it, so we come out with a very clean mineral oil that can be recycled and reused. And Miguel is going to show us how we do it. What he's doing is hooking up evacuation tools on the back of the refrigerator, and then he turns on the pump and starts sucking out the Freon and the oil. These are 1,000-pound canisters, and they're all marked EOS Climate. So we fill these up. They're sitting on a scale, and we know when they hit about 800 pounds, and that's their capacity. They call them 1,000-pounders or half-tonners. But when they get 800 pounds in there, Todd will make arrangements to come pick it up, and we put an empty one on there. And then he ships it to Champaign, Illinois, where it's cleaned. And it has to be 99.99% pure before we can destroy it, which is very interesting. You go, oh, you clean it, then you destroy it. Yes, because they don't want it to be watered down, and they want to make sure it's 100% clean.
JACO works with EOS Climate to verify the destruction of greenhouse gases.
EOS Climate is focused on the intersection of refrigerants and climate, and our approach is to use market-based principles to drive economic and environmental outcomes.
And so what we want out next is the compressor, because the compressor has a lot of copper in it. And rather than just send it over to a steel mill, because they don't like the copper because it's too soft, so we take the compressor out and ship it to another facility where they cut them open and take the copper out and recycle it. And he's going to cut it out. This is Jaws of Life, which is the same equipment they have on fire trucks to cut people out of accidents. And they're pneumatic shears.
So refrigerants are incredibly powerful greenhouse gases, and they're also very valuable in the marketplace.
As logical as it all sounds, it kept me wondering, why aren't all refrigerators dealt with in this manner?
Now, let's get a little picture of the scope of the problem here. You're doing a great job here at JACO, but not all fridges are winding up here. What percentage do you suppose of refrigerators are being fully disposed of in a responsible manner?
Probably in the U.S. you're looking at less than 10% that are being done properly.
So that begs the question, what is responsible refrigerant management?
So there's two main focuses in the refrigerant lifecycle management at EOS. The first is end of life. And so there, EOS actually leverages carbon finance to destroy chemicals that are no longer in production and prevent them from reaching the atmosphere. The second is the reuse of existing refrigerants. That means refrigerants can be cleaned up and used over and over because they don't break down over time, which is one of the reasons why they're so powerful in the environment. So for refrigerants that can be reused, you can clean them up and use them again and again and again, and keep track of them throughout their life cycle such that when they have reached the end of their useful life, they're managed and properly disposed of. So what we're hoping to do is actually engage you in the decision around your next refrigerator and the decision or the outcome associated with your current refrigerator. So we've partnered with Recycle Bank and JACO Environmental to create a single platform that engages consumer at the point of purchase and allows them to interact with manufacturers and retailers to make decisions around the life cycle of their refrigerator and the refrigerants in it.